Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Monday, February the 24th, 2025, and it is the day after a massive card yesterday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Dimitri Bivol winning the undisputed 175-pound title over Beterbiev in a classic. It was a sensational fight. I think we all got our money's worth, all $42 worth, or unless you paid $70 on Foxtel, which I don't know why you would do when there's the zone. But anyway, what a day. Look, first, we'll go through all the fights. But first of all, look, the main event was unbelievable. I think it exceeded all expectations. It was a lot better than the first fight. The first fight was good, by the way, but this fight yesterday was great. I thought all the momentum swings, there's a lot more exchanges, almost some controversy. But I've got to say, the rest of the card, just in my opinion, didn't really measure up to the hype. Now, again, I've been pretty vocal saying, hey, it's a good card, stacked card, but certainly not the greatest card of all time. And I'm not going to get into that because I just, to be comparing cards and errors and all that sort of stuff, I know it's wrong. We should just be thankful with what we get. But yeah, I thought there was a few flat spots in the card. Look, the fights themselves were great on paper, but I think we all agree that, yeah, there's a couple that maybe, well, overall left a bit flat. But either way, I'm not complaining because we've got the card, we've got the event. It's a lot better than not having it at all, isn't it? But look, all the fights. Look, again, if you got up at 2:30, 3 o'clock, good on you. I didn't because I didn't get home from work till about 1 o'clock and didn't get to bed till about 1:30. So I got up at about, what was it been, about 5:30 or something like that. So I got about 4 hours sleep. I slept well last night, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys and girls did as well. But I missed the Callum Smith and bouts fight. I had a look at the highlights of that one though. Look, that was probably one of the ones I wasn't overly wrapped about. It was great to have on the card, but it certainly wasn't stuff to set the alarm, I didn't think. But look, Callum Smith turned back the clock, didn't he? He fought a lot better than what I thought he would. I expected bouts to get over the top of him. I thought he'd be a bit too strong, a bit too youthful. And I thought, the pressure would be too much for Callum Smith, but he boxed really, really well. And who knows what's going to happen for him now. Maybe he gets another shot. Well, I don't think he's going to get a shot at the title because they're going to be tied up for probably the next 2 years. But yeah, I don't mind it. Maybe he could be someone that a kind of Wallace here in Australia could fight. I'm not sure, but really, really good performance from Callum Smith. And again, I'm not quite sure where it takes him for now. But he's got that. Is it the interim? What belt was it? Can't remember. It was an interim belt anyway. So look, while he's got that, of course, he's going to be ranked in the top 1 or 2. So you never know. But as I said, I think those 175-pound belts might just be out of reach for a while. But still some really good opportunities for him. Maybe, has he fought David Benavides? Or was that Beterbiev? Maybe he has. Anyway, maybe Benavides wants to tune up and wants to fight Callum Smith. So there's some options for him, but a really, really good performance from Callum Smith yesterday in that fight over Joshua bouts, who was just exposed a little bit, has been a little bit limited, I think, didn't he? He didn't really measure up and, as I said, probably got exposed a little bit for being maybe just a couple of levels below those top guys. What was the next one? I'll just quickly go through them. Was there 7 fights, whatever? The heavyweights, Ajit Cabel with a stoppage over Zang. Now, this was probably one, the fact that Cabel won didn't surprise me. It was the way he did it. He stopped him with a body shot, which is very unusual for the big fella Zang. I didn't think in the preview that I did say I couldn't see Cabel stopping Zang, but I was probably more thinking of headshots because Zang is a big, strong guy, very hard to move and hurt. But if you can't hurt him to the head, go to the body. It's a great plan. But the shot in itself, I thought, was pretty innocuous. It was I think it was a left hook to the body from memory. I think it was. He sort of reached around and got in. I mean, Zang did drop him the round before, I think it was. So he did have some success. But Cabel really surprised me. I thought he boxed well. I wasn't quite sure whether he had the tool set to keep Zang off him. I haven't been that impressed with Cabel in the lead up in his other fights. Showed a bit, but I wasn't quite sure he was ready to take the next step, while he did yesterday. I mean, Zang, give him, you know, he's due. I mean, was he 40 years old, whatever it was, or whatever it is? And you've got to wonder where he goes from here, don't you? I think he's had the Parker loss and now this loss. I know he's had the Wilder fight in between, but Wilder was shot to pieces as well. So, yeah, he just won. Look, he might be a bit of a stepping stone for a few other young heavyweights coming up. Maybe they might throw him in with Otoma or Huni or one of these types of guys. But, yeah, you got to wonder what's left for Zhilei Zhang. He's been a warrior over the years, always happy to fight whoever. But you just get the impression that maybe his time is done. But a good win by Cabel, and this now sets up some really good fights for him, because he's going to be ranked really highly with all the organisations, and at some stage he's going to get some big fights, and Turkey seems to like him. So you'd be guaranteed that in this year, in the coming events, he will be on some big cards, probably in some big fights. And they're even talking about maybe putting him in with Joseph Parker. Which I'm not against. I think, well, obviously I'm not against it. It'll be a great fight, but I'm just not sure whether Joseph Parker should be made to earn the shot with another big fight against a quality heavyweight. He's had 3 in a row now, so not sure. But if there's nothing coming up, then maybe put those two. And I know Turkey Al-Sheikh will want that fight because it's great for the card. But as I said, I'm not quite sure it's fair on Joseph Parker to have a 4th big fight to qualify for a world title fight anyway. So we had, who was it? We'll go with Madrimov and Ortiz. Really good performance by Virgil Ortiz. Probably went the way I thought it would go. Oh, hang on, buddy. He's caught on he got himself caught on a fence there. Come here, man. Yeah, I thought Madrimov did say he was a bit ill. I don't buy it. I think Ortiz just out-muscled him, out-fought him. I did see there was a couple of people that thought that Madrimov might have got the decision. No, I don't think so. I thought Ortiz did more than enough. I probably gave him at least 7, if not 8 rounds. I mean, a few of the rounds were close, but I thought that Ortiz fought the way I thought he would. He'd get inside. He boxed well as well. He did what he had to do on the inside. Madrimov was I just didn't think there was enough there to really steal the judge's attention and give him some of those close rounds. I thought Ortiz was the one that was sort of pushing the pace, dictating the pace, and I just thought Madrimov just didn't do enough. Yeah, I thought the decision was right. I can't remember the exact scores from memory, but all judges for Virgil Ortiz Jr. and some big fights for him coming up, isn't there, at 154. I mean, maybe Fundora later in the year. He's the WBC interim champion, so maybe after Fundora gets done with Booker at the end of March, maybe that will be the next fight, which will be a ripper too. So, and if it's not him, there'll be plenty of other guys at 154 for Ortiz. Don't forget he was going to fight Berenchuk, and that was scrapped in favour of this fight. So that's out there as well. So plenty of options for Virgil Ortiz Jr. I thought he fought really well, and as I said, some big fights at 154 for him. The next one, Carlos Adames and Hamza Shiraz. Oh, I don't know how this was scored a draw. I really don't. I thought Hamza Shiraz was very, very disappointing, and I thought Carlos Adames was actually very impressive. I didn't think that he had it in him. I think we all knew or know that he's strong, he's tough, he has a crack, but I thought he is limited in a lot of areas with the way he fights. And I just thought that Hamza Shiraz would expose those limitations. I thought with Shiraz's really good boxing skills, he's got good footwork, he's pretty fast with his hands, he can punch, moves pretty well. I thought all those attributes would be enough to, have a comfortable win over Carlos Adames. But and it looked that way for probably, the first 3 or 4 rounds. He boxed really well, Shiraz. But as soon as Adames really stepped it up and put the pressure on Shiraz, not much in return. I was really disappointed in Shiraz. He went into his shell. Even when his corner were telling him he had to pick it up, he had to punch more, and he just didn't. He stayed on the outer, allowed Adames to dictate the pace the whole fight. I thought landed the better shots, put on all the pressure. He is the champion too, remember, and he was the one really putting it on Shiraz. and the best he could do was a draw. I thought, I mean, watching the commentary, I mean, it was laughable at how biased the commentators were. We had Frank Warren running around the ring, yelling and screaming. We had Turki Al-Sheikh barracking for Hamz Shiraz at ringside, and the best they could still do for him was a draw. I think that tells you as much as you need to know. That Carlos Adames won that fight. I will not accept that Shiraz even got close to winning that fight. I probably had it 8 rounds to 4 for Shiraz, for Adames. And he'd be disappointed. Could have been worse though. They could have robbed him, but at least they gave him a draw. He kept his belt. No doubt they'll do a rematch later in the year. Turki will want to give his man Hamz Shiraz another crack at it, and I've got no doubt that that will be on a Riyadh card later in the year. But look, it wasn't a bad fight, but as I said, I was really disappointed in Shiraz. I don't think he's the fighter we thought he was. Look, maybe there might have been some extenuating circumstances. Maybe he was a bit overwhelmed with the occasion. Maybe Adames was better than we thought. Lots of different things, but the Shiraz I saw yesterday, if he had been in with the likes of Lara and Janabek, I think he would have been stopped. So, yeah, he's got a way to go, Shiraz. So maybe it's a blessing that maybe he gets another fight with Adames, and then if he can win that, and maybe he's ready for those guys. But from what I saw yesterday, no, not yet for Hamz Shiraz. And as much as they tried to get him over the line, they couldn't do it. And I'm just glad for Adames in that respect, because it would have just been a travesty if they had stolen his belt. Then on to Shakur Stevenson and Josh Padley. Well, I think the less said about this, the better. Shakur Stevenson, talk about disappointing, really disappointed. Look, end of the day, he got the job done. Okay, he got what was the 9th round stoppage. He did what he had to do. Late replacement, he had to change it, like his tactics, whatever it might have been, based on Schofield. But look, let's just say this is not Schofield being replaced with Tank Davis. This is Josh Padley, so he wouldn't have had to do too much adjusting. But yeah, look, he was cautious. Look, he looked okay in stages. He snappy jabs, some good punches, but geez, you wouldn't want to pay your hard-earned to go watch him, would you? I mean, it was just a labouring type of performance. And look, it went exactly the way I think we all thought it would be. Padley trying his best, but Shakur just picked him apart. At no real stage until about the 8th round did he really start to pick it up and have a bit of a crack at Padley, who was way out of his league. I mean, the difference in levels was just laughable. But again, full credit to Padley, by the way, for stepping up. So I'm not trying to have a crack at Padley, but as they always say, there's levels, and it was the Grand Canyon between the two. And Shakur Stevenson still struggled. Look, he pretty much won every round, but geez, you just look at the other elite fighters in the division. When they get someone like a Josh Padley in there with them, they really make an example out of them and really showcase their skills and just get a good win, a good stoppage out of it. And it ended up being just body shots that ended up getting Padley down in the end. It wasn't exactly their highlight reel stuff, was it? So yeah, Shakur Stevenson, I don't know where he's going. I know 3-time world champion and all that sort of stuff. That's great. But, geez, we used to always talk about Floyd Mayweather, how dull he was. This guy takes the cake. It seems to be like it's a bit of a cookie cutter approach, isn't it, with some of these fighters? I mean, Devin Haney's the same. I don't know. But the more they yap it up, the less they actually want to engage sometimes, isn't it, the way these guys talk. But yeah, not a great performance from Shakur Stevenson. I understand too, late replacement for him. It would have been maybe hard for him to get up. But geez, you're the third last fight on the card. You know, you've got peak eyeballs on you. Everyone's starting to tune in for the main event. You know, everyone from around the world is starting to tune in now. I mean, the hardcores would have been there about 4 hours earlier, but even just those casuals, will say, part-time people who are tuning in for the main event, that's about the time they start watching, and he just dropped the ball. And I still don't have any idea how that fight was third last on the card when you had so many other good fights on there. I mean, I would have had Ortiz and Madrimov before this one up the card. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, not a great performance from Shakur Stevenson. On to the co-main, and Joseph Parker with a spectacular 2nd round knockout of Pali. Now, if you remember the other day when it was first announced, I actually thought initially that Pali would actually be a bit too strong and hard for Joseph Parker, but I rethought it or thunk it, whatever you might want to say, over the night or overnight, and concluded that, geez, one thing I hadn't factored in was Pali's condition. What sort of condition is he in? Well, now I changed my tip. I'm glad I did. Even though Joseph Parker was even more spectacular than what I thought he would be, he dropped and knocked out Martin Pali in the second round with one of those right hands that just hit him on the top of the head. Took him a couple of seconds for it to sort of register, and down he went hard. And I think the whole building shook because I think he was, 310 pounds. But look, just Joseph Parker did what a fighter in that position should do. He got him out of there quick. This is what Shakur Stevenson should have been thinking or had in his mind. This is the performance we should have got from him. Third, fourth round stoppage against a very, very overmatched opponent. Well, you should take a look at Joseph Parker and how it's done, because Joseph Parker did it beautifully. I didn't expect him to stop him. In my prediction, I thought a 12-round decision. I didn't think that Pali would be able to be gotten out of there, especially the way he was. I thought maybe if he got a late round stoppage, it'd be due to exhaustion from or fatigue from Pali. But geez, didn't even get there. You could tell in the first round though that this wasn't going to be a Pali win unless he landed, one of those big shots and got Parker out of there, because he looked labouring, he looked slow, his timing was so far off, it was ridiculous. He could barely move in the centre of the ring, and Joseph Parker, he was in and out, he was moving. In the first round too, he did exactly what he needed to do. He picked his punches, jabbing to the head, jabbing to the body, moving around, making Pali chase him. Well, not chase him, but move after him. And it was pretty obvious straight from the word go that this was going to be a tough one for Pali in a 12-round fight. It was going to be a long time for a guy that hadn't barely trained. You can see that he was so far out of condition. It was ridiculous. But hey, look, credit to him. He filled in when he had to. Would have been a travesty if Joseph Parker didn't get a fight. But good on Pali. But geez, look, end of the day, I suppose it's good when you get, I don't know, I'm not sure how much he got paid, but I'm sure it was in the millions. So pretty good, reason to get off the couch and get over to Saudi Arabia. I think he actually got to Saudi Arabia like the morning of the weigh-in. So he would have been there a few hours, and not that the weight's an issue, of course, because he's a heavyweight, but he would have got there early morning, maybe got a few hours sleep, went to the weigh-in overnight. He barely would have slept because I think the time difference between the two is a long way off as well. So it would have been tough for Pali. But again, he did what he was asked to do. Got a nice little payday to soothe the pain, I think. But yeah, good performance from Parker. He did exactly what good fighters do. And then the main event, I thought it was just a stellar performance by Dmitry Bivol. Strangely, he has copped a lot of criticism online from some reporters and fans about the way he fought, that he ran, and I just can't see it. I just thought he did everything except run. I thought he boxed beautifully. He boxed when he needed to box. He punched when he needed to punch. And he did engage that the fight plan that I sort of touched on the other day, where he would up the work rate at certain times to really steal the attention from Beterbiev. And what I mean by that, there was a lot of close rounds, but you'll see at some stages he'd plant his feet and he'd throw 5, 6, 7, 8 punches in a row to really put a full stop on the round. And I've got no doubt that would have stolen him some rounds. Beterbiev did well as well. And there's a lot of people saying that Beterbiev won the fight. I just can't see it. I had it 8 rounds to 4. Now, granted, could have been a little bit closer, but no more than 7-5 in my opinion. I don't think Beterbiev did enough to win more than 5. There was the one draw. What was the other one? 116, 112, which is the way I had it, and then 115, 113. That's probably the right card, I would say. But look, I just think it's justification for the first fight, and there has to be a trilogy, because I thought in the first fight Bivol did more than enough to win. Beterbiev got that. A lot of close rounds in that one as well. And then yesterday as well, same sort of fight. A lot more action in this one though. Just a really, really good fight. The back and forth. There was the exchanges right throughout the fight. They were so much better than the first fight we had. We had early on with Bivol doing really well, then Beterbiev come right on through the middle rounds, and then I thought Bivol, when he got his second win, really won those later rounds. I just thought it was a stellar performance from Bivol. From a guy, you can see how much it meant to him, by the way, after the fight. I know all these guys, it means a lot to them, but I just think this one was extra special for Bivol because I think he thought he won the first fight, and the pressure that was on him, who knows where he would have went if he didn't win this fight. But I just thought he boxed beautifully, and these calls of him running, I think that's just a ridiculous. As I said, I thought he boxed when he needed to box, and he punched when he needed to punch, and he just did everything he had to. He stood with Beterbiev on numerous occasions, and I thought got the better of the exchanges. I thought Beterbiev was the one that looked a little bit old. At the end of it, I know he is 40 years old, but he looked like he was feeling the pace. I think he was being outworked by Bivol. I haven't actually seen the stats, but I'm pretty sure that Bivol would have thrown, 2 punches for every one of Beterbiev's. I thought his work rate was great. Looked a bit shaky in the middle rounds. I thought Beterbiev was starting to get on top. Bivol was starting to struggle with the pace as well. He went really hard in those first 3 or 4 rounds. And come here, buddy. And those middle rounds looked a bit spent, but then Beterbiev put the pressure on, and then it was him who actually felt the pace later in the fight, and that's where Bivol, I thought, came back and won the majority of the later rounds. So, well, obviously this now sets up the trilogy, and I think it could be one for the ages because you'd think that Beterbiev will see it as his last stand. Bivol will want to put an exclamation mark on the series as well, and it's going to happen. There's no doubt it will happen. And I think it's great. I think it's awesome that we're going to have a legitimate trilogy. Probably the last one I can probably think of is probably Canelo and Golovkin. But the Golovkin and Canelo trilogy, the last fight probably came, about 2 years too late, I think. The first 2 were great, really well timed. But the third one just come a bit late, where in this instance, both guys, I won't say they're at their peak because Beterbiev is 40 years old, but I think in terms of the career, for both of them, it has to be this year. And when we get this one signed off, I think it'll go down as one of the greatest trilogies of all time. But just a great performance from Dmitry Bivol. And look, no disrespect to Beterbiev as well. I mean, he had his moments during the fight. Looked like he was really starting to get on top there for a while. But in the end, I think justice was served on the first fight, because I know a lot of people out there, including myself, thought that Bivol won that first fight, and this is it. But either way, I think a 1-1 ledger in this series is probably about right. No matter who you thought won the first fight or yesterday's fight, I think the fact that they're 1-1, I think everyone would agree that that's fair. And now we need the trilogy fight, and David Benavidez is just going to have to wait, and he'll have to, maybe, as I said, he fights Callum Smith, or he goes up and fights Jai or Zerdo, who knows. But I think this series has got to be settled, and I can't wait. I think they're already talking about October or something, October, November for the trilogy, so we will see. Just a quick one on the heavyweights before I go. It was, I quickly touched on it yesterday, but it looks like Daniel Dubois might have done a little bit of a swifty and pulled out of the fight on advice, because Usyk has said he wants Dubois next, and the rumours is that maybe they pulled a swifty and pulled him out to save him for a May or June fight with Usyk. So I hope it's not the case, but it wouldn't surprise me if that did happen. Look, massive fight for Dubois, massive payday for Dubois to take that Usyk fight, and Parker is a massive threat or risk. So I don't sort of blame him, but geez, if that is the case, it's a bit of a low act in it, especially when you factor in Joseph Parker. I'm glad he did get the fight in the end, Joseph Parker, but imagine if he didn't. Dubois pulled out the fight Usyk, and Parker was left with nobody. So these are the shenanigans that go on in boxing, I know, but I'm hoping the rumour's not true, although I think where there's smoke, there's fire. So anyway, we'll see. So guys, what did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts on the card. Just for the record, by the way, I think I'll just quickly go through the fights. I missed out on Callum Smith. I missed out on Cabel. So that's 0 and 2. I got, what was the other fight there? Just quickly going through them. I got Ortiz, so that's 1. I got Stevenson, so that's 2. I got Parker, that's 3. I didn't get the main event. And what was the other one? And the other one was a draw. So what did I get? About 3 winners out of the whole card. So even though the so-called boxing experts out there, I don't think they got many as well either. It was just one of those cards. But anyway, what did you think about it all? A great day of boxing, and lots to talk about tonight on Talking Boxing later. So have a great Monday, guys, and we will catch you tomorrow.